Well, hello everyone, okie dokie peepsies, and so a bit of a different video today. We're looking at the tarot deck and we're going to reveal many aspects of it. The title of the video is Yahweh in the tarot deck. And you're going to say, that can't be. No one told me this. If this was true, don't you think someone would have told me already? And this is what many people say. No. You're going to see. And there are many ancient games, ideas, and symbolisms concealed here. One of the ancient ideas in the tarot is that the major arcana is the Jewish alphabet. This is what is claimed by Kabbalists, because there's 22 of them. It's almost like the alphabet of 26 letters. It's a bit similar. There's something interesting going on. Just they take out the vowels. It's only the consonants. So you can do some alphabetical calculations, and they like to do this. 22 also an auspicious number if you know about Babylonian numerology. Very lucky number. So we're going to reveal some things about the tarot that I've noticed. Just looking at all this. Firstly, this is one of my favorite tarots. It's called the vampire. Oops! It's called the vampire tarot, and I think if you have a tarot deck, it should speak to you. I've got a couple more. One of them's gone missing. I don't know where it is. One of them I haven't even unpacked it yet. It's called the Mythic Tarot. It looks quite interesting, but I've always used the vampire tarot because the cards just look absolutely amazing. Love the Fool. Look at that. Look what he's doing. Look at that. They're all basically. It looks like he's dispatched a deer or something. Well, that's why his arms are like that. But they're all basically vampires, and they're all there's strength, right? Funny stuff. Anyway, we'll also talk about the normal deck of cards. What's going on with the normal deck? Why that's the top card, etc., etc., etc. We're going to unpack it. Let's unpack it. Okay, so now lots of you will have done tarot before. It is not black magic. Some people, I said, do you want me to do your tarot? And they said, no, I don't do black magic. This is not black magic. This will not summon demons. This is fine. This is not Ouija board. Don't worry about that. I think in the movies they always pull out the death card, which basically means Thoth knowledge. It means knowledge because something's going to change. That's what it means. It doesn't mean death. It means change. Thoth was a god. This is a god. These are gods. These cards. That's a cute one. These are gods. Major arcana. And minor arcana is basically what it is like the deck of playing cards. It is basically a different version of the deck of playing cards, but only one hand. So it's as if it was for one person, but because there's 4 decks, there's actually 4. There's the Wheel of Fortune, the 6 of Wands, the Cups, the Swords. It's as if 4 people can sit around a table playing it, same as this. And that's what it was made for. It was made for 4 people to play because there's 4 decks. Now what's happened here is they've taken the 4 decks and doubled them up with 2 different colours so that 2 people can play them. So you can play it by 4 or by 2. Tarot seems to be 5 decks because you have the 4 decks here and then you have the Major Arcana deck of 22. So it is 5 decks. So let's get right into it. The Fool is the first card and the Magician is the second. So you look at the etymology of mage, it's maker. The one who does things, the maker. So it's activated by the Fool, and then it's followed up by the one who makes. Now, these are 2 different gods. These are all gods. The Fool in Germanic is also the fallen one. He's fallen. And you see that in the word. He's fallen from heaven to help mankind. That's why he's blundering about. That's why he seems to walk off a cliff. In the traditional, this is the non-traditional tarot, but in the traditional tarots, He seems to he's stumbling off a cliff. These are the first two cards. And notice also the sun behind him, and he's coming, it looks like he's heading downwards. He's heading downwards from heaven. He's coming downwards. He's about to fall off the cliff, fall to earth. This is the fallen angel. The fallen angel, the helper of mankind. We've described him as Tor. Also, in the previous videos, he's the one at Göbekli Tepe who helps out with technology. And with his technology, suddenly you can make things. In other words, this religion comes from building a Tor on a hill. It comes from alchemy. It's megalithic. This is very old. There's more about the tool, the fool, not the tool, but he's Yahweh. How the hell is this guy Yahweh? What's going on? Okay, so how that works is he's the ruler. So he is basically a joker or a jack. And the joker and jack seem to be two different fools used in the traditional playing deck. And it is known that the joker is used to trump all the other cards in some games like the 19th century and previous games, but not used much in the 20th century games. So what's going on with him? And why is he Yahweh? I'll show you why. So the reason he is Yahweh, and you can see it in the two is the root. And it's the same with Jack. It's Iak. So you have the Ia root in both the Joker and the Jack. In other words, at one time the Jack would have ruled the deck. It shows you how old the game is, that the rules have completely changed over time. But the older games you look at, the more you can see how the tarot used to be and how the playing cards used to be, because they come from a very similar source. So that is Ia. There's more. Now you're going to say, hang on a sec. The Jack, I know for a fact the Jack isn't the top of the deck. I know it's the Ace. Ace of spades. So hang on a sec. So here's the four aces, and this particular deck has done a very nice one for the spades. That could be the swords. Apparently it's similar to the swords. It looks a bit like the sword, and spada in Spanish, it means sword. However, that's not all there is to. There's a problem. We got a problem. Big problem. Cards go back to ancient China. It's Indo-Eurasian. Forget about what Spain's doing. That's just one outer branch. And actually, look at the symbolism there. I don't know how they came up with this, but there's something actually going on in there, and it actually looks like an eye. Now, I don't know how the hell they came up with that, because Ake, A-C-E, Ake, Oko, eye. Ace means, the word literally means eyeball. Oko. An ace is an eye. So you have the two rulers. Forget about the king. The rulers are the jack and the ace, the Oko, the eye. So we know the eye is an old symbol of Yahweh, which is quite interesting. So Yahweh is ruling through the joker, the jack, and through the Oko, the eye. Eye in the pyramid. Quite interesting indeed. There's more. There's more. So basically, so in the Slav language, the word spade, it means you've fallen down. It says that he's the fool. The fool is the fallen one. So that's that. This is also an ace of a spade is also a fool. So you have a divergent tradition in which you have the same concept of three different fools in the same deck of cards, because they've all forgotten that he's the ruler of the deck. Because they've forgotten that he's the ruler of the deck, they've had to reintroduce him as the ruler of the deck from another tradition, and then he's also the ruler of the deck anyway because of that. So you see how that argument works. There's the eye, the eye, and that's the top card. And spada in Polish, fallen. There's more. Spacer is taking a walk in Polish, in Slav language. And Slavs covered a huge area, massive area. It's taking a walk. And what does the fool do? We all know that, we all know he walks off a cliff. Like here's a book on tarot. Doesn't seem to have this is one called the Merlin Tarot. And we all know that he's walking downhill from heaven, and to help mankind, he's an ancient giant. This is a very accurate one because he's got the weapon. So he's carrying a staff, a weapon, which is the backpack, but he's also half naked, as is Jesus, a carpenter from heaven to help mankind, a tool maker. And as we've seen, as is Thor, as is Hercules, as is the monkey in Asia, as are all these heroes, these mythical heroes. So it's based on a tradition we've shown, possibly going back to Göbekli Tepe. So you've got to ask, how old are these cards? If the carbon dating is correct, how old are these cards? It goes back a really long way. So people look at this, what it is Spain, because they think, okay, the cards have got to have some kind of gypsy flamenco tradition. Let's look at Spain. Let's look at the Arabic world. But in fact, this is a Eurasian tradition, and it goes all the way back. But there's more. There's a lot more going on here. Because there's the cups, the wands, the swords, that doesn't belong there, and the pentacles. Now, it's known that two of them are bad, the cups and the pentacles and the wands, and two of them are good, the swords and the cups. So if you pull the wrong one, you have the negative. If you pull the right one, you have the positive outcome. In other words, it's the yin and yang at the center of the I Ching. Actually, the yin and yang is a bit different to the I Ching, but it's a circle in the middle, right, representing possibly the earth. And even this tarot thing has a circle in the middle. The reason you'd have 4 is so you could lay it out around a circle. And the reason you divide it into 4 is crucifixion. It's the symbol of the earth, alchemy. So it's megalithic. This has ideas which possibly go back to megalithic times. Here is a book on tarot, an old one. He talks about an ancient Celtic method of divination. Now, he doesn't explain how the hell he came up with this, but you'll put the cards around, and then you'll put a signifier card in the middle. And you can see it was, because it's got the four decks and then the 5th major arcana, and the playing cards have the 4 decks with which are doubled up, it was for 4 people. It was an ancient game for 4 people as well. And they were supposed to sit around a small table. And this is exactly what people did for all of the 19th century in the evening. They'd either read a book, they'd read aloud, they'd play the piano, they'd sit 4 around a table and play cards, invite a couple over, have dinner and play cards. And you'd sit around the table like this. Because there was no television to watch, no radio to listen to. You want to talk to the other people. You want to see what they have to say. That battery is running. I need to plug that in. Let's just keep going. So the most popular 19th century game was whist. Basically, it was whist. The Americans called it Euchre. And that is what they used the Joker for. Now, all of my life, I've been wondering, what the hell is the Joker for? Dad used it as a trump card. I used to play with Dad, different games. And everyone used to play before pre-internet, as you know. It was so popular before, and now I don't think it's popular anymore. Gen Z will never stop looking at their laptop screens and their computer games. But we know that the Joker was the king of the deck, but not used in modern games. Why is this? Look at what's happened in the 20th century. Poker became the most popular game. Poker is a game, I reckon it's a game for narcissists, because it's like I get the cards. I may be short and ugly, but I got the cards, man. Hey, this is where I can be a man. I can be somebody. Look at my cards. You ain't got them. I got the cards. This is poker. This is a game for narcissists. I don't like poker. But the other games are different. In the 19th century, you'd play this Euchre, and basically you use half of the deck and you divide it into, it's 4 around the table. So it's a hint, and you would actually play often with the other person against these two. So, and you'd basically start with one card, which becomes the trump card, one of the higher cards, and then you'd try and match it by throwing cards in. And it's a bit luck, it's a bit skill, it's mostly luck, and it's about knocking out the other team. So, and you'd play 4 around a table. And this is a totally different game to poker, but there's a hint in here as that you are playing with something that resembles the major arcana, and you're starting to use the fact that there's four suites in the deck. Which is really interesting. So you can imagine, there's the earth, you divide it alchemically. This goes back to the Megalithic era. And it's also very similar. Look at the I Ching Korean flag. It's very similar to that ancient game. It's also a bit like dominoes in a way. We're trying to reconstruct the ancient game. And you're making a cross. And, or think about Chinese checkers. It's played circularly. So I reckon there could have been a game which you use cards and you use counters with some kind of circle board in the middle in ancient times. Anyway, I think I've covered most of it. Phone's running out of battery, but there's the ace, and it's actually a bit like a tree as well as a sword. The fact is, it's a sword, but it looks like a tree, let's face it. Eye in the middle. Tiu symbol, God, Tiu, tree of life, or a hammer. Is the spade based on a kind of in fact, the clubs, to be honest, the clubs are more like the hammer. You might be another divergent tradition or something. 2 different types of hammer in the deck, which is rather interesting. So both of them are the eye of Horus, the eye of the one-eyed, the eye of Hodin, the bloke who lives by himself, the Cyclops, who's a bit of a tool maker, hammer tradition. Does this go back to Göbekli Tepe? It's like the darts game, circular. You can take it all the way back. We don't know the original rules of cards. We don't know the original rules of tarot. But anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and you can see it's based on very old traditions. Forget looking in North Africa in the 1500s. This goes back to the pyramid era. Pyramid 4 many thousands of years. Proto-crucifixion. It's a sacred game. The Druids may have sat around a table teaching each other. I made a darts video saying that, and you can check that one out, saying that darts was invented thousands of years ago to teach Druids the velocities of the planets. And I've shown how that could have possibly worked. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed the video.